being a dual international is something that is definitely not to shy away from.
I've done as much as I could do. I don't think anything else going to come from this. Like, maybe it is time just to accept, let's get a job and move on.
You're absolutely flying. 170 tries. Every time you touch the ball, it seems like you're scoring.
She even said to me, she was like, you just broke a record last week. What are you crying about?
It's the people around me that almost had more faith in my ability than I did.
Hello, my name is Harry McNulty and welcome to episode 3 of HSBC Life on Tour. Today we are in the capital of Western Australia, Perth, the hot and sunny coast, 3,000 hours of sun every year. And we are in the team hotel, surrounded by all of the teams getting ready for a scintillating weekend, both on and off the pitch. And today I am joined by Australia's Maddie Levi and GB's Ryan Apps. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing? How are you enjoying Perth so far?
Yeah, good. Slowly adapting to this weather. It's a lot hotter than over in the East Coast, so enjoying the sun while it's here.
What's the temperature over on the East Coast?
We've had some 37 days, but it was raining when we left, so glad to be in a sunny state again.
And you've probably come from minus 3.
Yeah, we're pushing zeros if we're lucky. So all the boys just getting used to it now, but enjoying, loving being here. So much nicer.
Are you a good man for the sun?
Yeah, I back myself.
You back yourself?
Looks a bit tan.
Yeah, it looks like you've been on the beds before you came out here.
No, we're not spreading those rumours.
No? Rumours?
Absolutely not.
It's not a rumour if it's true, I suppose.
No, it's not true. Don't worry, I wouldn't be doing that.
Look, we'll jump straight into it. Last HSBC Life on Tour we had Bella, and she kindly let us know that Maddie is known as Iconic, that self-proclaimed nickname. How do we feel about that? Is that true? Is there some truth to that? We saw the message.
Definitely self-proclaimed. Okay. But I was talking with our physio about like how to describe all the destinations, and we spent an hour, couldn't work it out, and then she approached me at dinner and walked over and pointed at me and said, "Iconic," and I said, "Me?" And she was like, "No, you idiot, the bloody destinations." So kind of caught on from there because I called myself Iconic.
Okay.
Accidentally.
But you're not removing it from...
I'm not opposed to it.
Not opposed. You'll have to add it to the necklace. You've got Dior, Dior and then Iconic.
Iconic.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. Ryan, you're one of the 90 debutantes this season. Do you have a nickname? Have you worked on one? Have the boys given you...
No, we're pretty bland with the nicknames at the minute.
Really?
It's just Raps or Appsy, just putting the two names together.
Creative.
No, nothing too creative. Not yet, anyway.
Can you rap at least?
Oh God, no.
No?
No. I wouldn't even try.
We're in Perth. We're on the West Coast. Bit of travel from both sides, but how excited are you for this weekend? Obviously, last year was the first year that it was here. It seemed to be really well received. Sunday was a complete sellout. Yeah. What are you expecting from this weekend?
Yeah, I think the same again. I guess people know what Sevens is now over here, and just the rugby culture they have, or like any sporting culture, they seem to sell out. So I think they've got the ball rolling this year and seems to be close to a sellout. So I'm excited, and just to play in front of just good old Aussie fans. They get pretty rowdy. I know my parents will be instigating a lot of that in the stands. So just to have a familiar face in the stands is pretty exciting.
Do you have obviously you've got family coming over, but would you have friends that are coming over for the tournament as well?
Yeah, lots of family and friends coming over, and then my partner's from Perth, so all of his mates are coming along.
Okay, so you have the lowdown.
Lots of pressure.
Good stuff. And Ryan, you're new to the tour, as we said earlier, debut in Dubai. So you've kind of got a bit of a taste for it now, Dubai, Cape Town. How are you experiencing Perth so far?
I mean, it's an amazing place. The stories that the boys have told from the last year, I've kind of lived up to it. Just really excited to get out there. Dubai and Cape Town are obviously such an amazing introduction. We're just looking forward to grow and just take it all in, because it's not much of a better place to be, is there?
No, it's pretty ssunning. We've got the beach right here, loads of food, bars all around. Obviously, I can test those out. You guys can wait.
You'll have to let us know.
I'll get you the recommendations. Yeah.
Awesome.
But it's such a fantastic part of the whole HSBC 7 Series is the opportunity to go to places like Perth and be able to experience it. And not only do we have the rugby, but Optus Stadium here seems to be drawing in a lot of amazing events every year into Perth. It seems to be taking them away nearly from the East Coast. is Perth really making a name for itself in terms of that space?
Definitely. I think we were even speaking to the WA tourism guy, and he was saying that UFC's also taken off here, and they sell the tickets out straight away, and it's just they get such an influx of people come to watch it. And yeah, so I think just sport over here, as I said, the people over here just go crazy for any type of sport, so kind of drawing it away from the East Coast, but I don't mind travelling to a place as beautiful as this.
Stunning. Yeah, it's sort of really making a name for itself, because I think there's sort of this idea that person that doesn't get anything, so when something arrives, everybody's like, we have to go.
We have to, we take the most of it.
Yeah.
Well, we went to the Optus Stadium the other day to watch the cricket, the Big Bash, so
unbelievable.
I mean, it drew us in straight away.
Other than that, have you been able to do anything else while you've been in Perth?
We've actually been here quite a while now. We're coming up to a week, just so the boys get used to it, because it is such a long flight for us, and the weather is such a big change. We went over to Rottnest, I know you guys did as well. We went and watched the Big Bash, so there's a few boys that want to go and do some shopping and stuff. So, but mainly we've just been out there, just enjoying the sea. Because can't really do that at this time of year in the UK.
Yeah, literally an ice bath if you want to go for one. Yeah. Well, look, you've obviously had a good introduction into Perth. Really excited for the weekend. But in terms of sevens, you're both on the younger side. Maddie, you've been around for a couple of years now. You've got your accolades. Ryan, you're new to the scene. But being young, 23, 22, is that like normal, obviously, in your world, but when you go back and you speak to your friends and family, do they just not really blink an eye, or do they have to kind of remind you that what you're doing as a sevens player on the World Series, traveling around the world, is that like, that's not normal? And like, how do you see that? Yeah, what do they talk about when you chat to them?
For me, I think it's quite a big new thing. Like, not many people have heard of it. It is growing massively and so quickly, which is why it's so exciting to be part of it at the minute. They just say being able to travel is just such an incredible opportunity, which it really is, and couldn't agree more with them. But yeah, they just said take as many opportunities as you can while you are young and while the body's still going, because we do play that sport where you never know. So
yeah, of course. Like, it's funny because you start doing this more and more, and then you're like, oh yeah, this is like, I basically skip winter back home in UK and Ireland. It's like literally
it's not a bad thing at all, though.
And then you've just recently graduated from Loughborough, so you probably have mates that are looking for jobs. Oh,
well, it was going to be me as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then you go, oh, I was in Cape Town, I was in Dubai, I'm in Perth, and then they're like, oh, I've been literally on the job hunt, and it's quite a different scenario.
Yeah, it's a very different scenario. I had a few mates that I was with just over Christmas. I was like, oh, it was awful. We had such a long flight coming back from Cape Town. Had to sit on a plane for 12 hours, and one of them looked at me and he went, "Are you being serious?" I went, "Yeah, good point actually. Apologies." While they're there just trying to get the money in. So yeah, no, it's a pretty cool opportunity, and to be able to come to these places, like we said, is amazing.
Well, for you, Maddie, obviously you've got Tegan with you, so
Yeah.
not so much that it would be a bubble within your family, but it definitely would just seem like, oh yeah, the two girls are
Quite
going doing
normal.
this. Quite normal.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's like when I go home to my friends that are still in their 9-to-5 job, like, and yeah, as you said, you complain about the travel and you complain about things that just aren't really big problems in this day and age, or when we get to travel and see places. And it's funny because we are so young, but then in this kind of sport, like, I'm considered one of the more experienced in my team and still only 22, so the fact that I can help lead and play such a big part in the Australian team is pretty awesome.
It's fantastic. It's great to see kind of two different parts of the journey. You've been here for a couple of years, you got to start it. Just kind of, it's kind of cool to look back, because I would have had those moments as well. Not as many tries, I was working on it, but from just playing all around the world, it's just been so fantastic. And you know, probably you're still young, but there had to be a moment within the last couple of years or within your life where you had to kind of look at your rugby and go, you know what, I really want to take this more seriously. Was there any moments where you thought, I need to start, you know, doing that extra training? Maybe I need to try to go to a different team, or maybe when you were in Barbados, was that the turning point to play underage Barbados?
Yeah, that was pretty out of nowhere. Just on a family holiday, went to watch some horse racing and saw these kids running around in the middle of the racetrack, and it was Barbados under-18s, and they happened to be short of a player. So I was like, well, I can play if you need me to, and they just chucked me some kit and off I went. No, for me, I think my big turning point was going to uni. There was a little bit of uncertainty for myself of whether rugby was the thing that I was going to take forward. Just when you are in that position, getting a degree, trying to figure out where life's going to take you. But being at Loughborough, one of such an amazing like sporting institute, it kind of pushes you in that direction to give it a go. That alongside where I'm from, Bedford being such a massive like rugby town, it's kind of always been within my blood, like my family and everything like that. So yeah, Loughborough's probably kind of where it all massively took off for me.
Up the Bedford Blues. Yeah. Was the GB7 squad doing any training camps in Loughborough?
Yeah.
And did you see that happening?
I did. So actually during my second year, I'd just come back from shoulder surgery, so I hadn't actually played that much rugby, but I was playing for a sevens team, just getting into the season, and got the opportunity to train with England just before the Commonwealth, when it was over in Birmingham. So got 3 weeks when they were training at Loughborough as a camp, and then it kind of quietened down as it went to GB, but we do go back and forth to Loughborough now and then. We've kind of got our own base now down towards London, but yeah, back in the past, Loughborough did hold a bit of a home for the Sevens.
Fantastic. Well, it's nice that it was there to give you an opportunity to kind of see what was going on.
Even just to see the boys, like when you are 18, 19, it's still something you look up to and aspire to do. So just seeing them training, seeing what they do, see them in the gym, it's like, oh, okay, it's quite cool. They're training where I'm studying or where I am.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember the Carlin Isles used to play for USA, but the reason he got into rugby is because there was training happening outside of where he was studying, and he's like, I want to go try that game. Yeah, so it is nice to be able to have that showcased in front of like the general public, because you never know who's going to fall into it or want to try. And you used to be a dancer when you were younger?
Yeah, did 10 years of dance, and then realised mum was wasting all her money because I'm still uncoordinated. But yeah, it was kind of like in school I was probably first dropped from every team, whether it be rugby, AFL, and kind of just gave me that drive to become better and knock down those doors. And for me, having AFL as such a big sport in Australia and having both that and rugby sevens, the opportunity, and rugby at first wasn't there, so took the AFL, played a season of the Gold Coast Suns, and came over here actually and did a hub for 2 weeks, and then just got told that I probably wouldn't make the rugby team if I chose AFL, and I don't take no lightly, so I kind of was like, all right then, watch me do both. And then, yeah, was lucky enough to debut at Tokyo Olympics. And yeah, for that, I had a decision what I wanted to pursue, and I guess you can't knock back this. Like, definitely made the right choice.
Quite the trajectory, to be fair. But do you think the dance had any help at all over the years?
Yeah, definitely. I even like joke about it now, but when Tegan puts me in 2 meters of space and I'm able to weave my way and balance on the sideline, I reckon it's from all those years of doing core and turns and leaps. So I think it's played a huge part in the ability and the way I play rugby.
Surely you're going to have to bring in some sort of dancing celebration when you score a try. You can bring in like a little bit of ballet.
If I celebrate, I probably will drop the ball the next time I try and score a try, so that's probably why I don't have a celebration. Just focus on the next job.
Do you have a celebration at all?
Not a massive one, just a little lightning bolt, just for the old team that I used to play for. Their logo was a lightning bolt, so. We've
obviously just finished the festive season. 2 different festive seasons, obviously. Back home, freezing cold, here nice and hot. Yeah. How is it, you know, when you get the Christmas tree, the presents, and you open it up, there's a GPS there waiting for you, staring back at you? Like, how does that prep go? Is it self-led? Do you catch up with teammates? Yeah. You know, what is the motivation that you have to tell yourself to go out and do it?
Yeah, for me, I'm probably pretty lucky. I get Tegan as my training buddy, so just having her next to me, I think she probably is a bit more push towards getting up and training early, because we go home and the Gold Coast sun's just rip-roaring during summer, so trying to find the best time to train. I guess it's probably good if we train in the middle of the day, used to this. But yeah, no, just having that and being able to run with someone helps, and we try and link up all the girls on the coast, and we had an introduction into 15s leading into our Christmas, so it was kind of good to have that at home and then run on the off-season.
Yeah, very good. I remember, I'm sure we've had similar trainings, like it's dark until 9 a.m.
Yeah. And not pleasant at all. It's the last thing you want to do. We have quite a lot of prescribed stuff, so we were basically 2 days on, 1 day off. all the way through that Christmas period. A lot of us are scattered all over the UK, so we don't really have that luxury of coming together. The boys that are based in London, like I think we had 1 or 2 sessions where they could come together and just get some skills going as well. It is very much self-led. Obviously it's been prescribed to us, but there's kind of that trust element between the team that we're here to try and do the best things we can as a team. So we all trust each other to go out and put their max in every day we are training. So when we do come back and come out here, we're not going to get absolutely slaughtered in the heat and just by running around, because we haven't done anything.
No one stuck a GPS on a dog yet or anything? Go out for a walk with the dog?
Shout.
I honestly
that is a great
think
shout.
they'd think I'm injured because my dog is so tiny and fat, but I probably run faster than my dog.
Yeah, your results are really poor. You thought they'd be doing something right, yeah.
Are you okay? Just notice you're running half your speed.
You mentioned the 15s and having to try and go back and forth. So there's obviously the Women's World Cup is coming up.
Yeah.
A lot of the Aussie girls have announced that they're going to make a move over to the 15s. What's that schedule kind of looking like? And are you going to have to balance the 7s and the 15s? Or are you going to have to pick one or the other now going into the World Cup?
I think Rugby Australia is doing a great job. Like 7s and 15s are kind of working hand in hand. We'll play in between this and Vancouver, our first round of 15. So I guess that'll be exciting. Still got to learn a little bit, but I'm sure once we get out there, it's like the basics of 7s. Just try and find space and get to the line as quick as you can, pretty much. But no, I think it's cool to see like how many girls are keen to transition and obviously grow the game of 15s. I think it's growing at such a fast pace, and so we can help grow it in Australia. I think that'd be pretty cool and transition what we know in a full-time sport being 7s, and we get to do this day in, day out. Hopefully we can help bring in some things that we've learned along the journey to better that 15.
And you have the experience of the World Cup in Cape Town 2022. You won that.
Yeah.
After winning in Cape Town, was there a bit of a push then to think, oh, do you know what, I'd love to put that into the 15s World Cup and try and do that again?
Yeah, it probably wasn't on my forefront of my mind then. I think mainly 7s and just focusing on how I can become a better player. And I think now that I've kind of settled into 7s, being a dual international is something that is definitely not to shy away from. So I think that'd be pretty cool. And as you said, the World Cup, like those big milestone tournaments is something every athlete dreams of. And with the Com Games obviously not going ahead with 7s next year, I think it's exciting to try and pursue something and get a new challenge.
Yeah, and we have the likes of Ilona Maher. She's gone over to Bristol, so she's doing her thing in the 15s game in the Northern Hemisphere. Do you think that she's having a ripple effect for girls down in the Southern Hemisphere to try and go to a club and really promote the game as well as push the World Cup coming as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think just the effect she has on women in general, and no matter what you're playing, I think you see the Ilona Maher effect in 7s and how many people have tuned in to watch that game because of her. And definitely in 15s, obviously selling out that stadium, I think that's something pretty special. And yeah, just seeing her transition, and a lot of the girls, like the Irish girls and the Kiwi girls, transitioned and did so well. And you see Erin King went over and Rookie of the Year, so I think that's pretty cool and something to aspire to, and hopefully we can do the same thing and transition seamlessly. Nice.
Within the men's game, we've kind of seen the reverse when we had Antoine Dupont coming over for the games in Paris over the summer. Do you kind of see that this is the future of rugby, where we get a little bit more crossover?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there definitely is the crossover. I think it's brilliant for the sport, especially because it brought in so many more people watching. Like when you've got the best player in the world kind of transitioning over, everyone's like, well, it almost creates that buzz. So yeah, I definitely think we're going to see it, especially for those big competitions, them coming across.
And with the 7s, I've noticed, because there's been rule changes in the 15s around the kicks, around box kicks, you can't block a player coming in, even kickoffs. I think that there's been a big shift in terms of those skill sets going into the 15s game. Do you think that's something that you're going to be able to probably implement and take on board? Because East Grove from Argentina, now playing at Harlequins. The other week he won 3 kickoffs in a row. Suali playing for Australia against England in the November internationals. He was winning kickoffs against Itoje, one of the best players in the world. So there's skill sets within the sevens game that are underutilized in the 15s game. And do you think like this is something that now is actually going to change the 15s game?
Yeah, I think so, and I think create that more fast-paced and obviously more of a contest. And you see how much Suwali had an impact in that Australian game. Winning the restarts is so crucial, and it's such a crucial part in the sevens game. So to be able to transition and help grow the game of 15s and develop that, especially for a female aspect, we can transition. You don't really see that contested kick much in that game. So hopefully we can bring that in and win back a few.
Yeah, it's very interesting because having so many sports backgrounds as well, you can kind of try and take from parts of them, but then going into essentially just a different format of your own game, you can then see things differently than what other players can, and you can try and use that to your advantage and go from there. So yeah, we'll see how you get on, and best luck. What position are you going to play when you go over to 15s?
Outside back or full back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to be good under a high ball then.
Yeah, which I probably suck at the moment. Catching on my chest, I can catch above my head, but as soon as it's on my chest,
That's fine. Catch above the head then.
yeah, I'll just say.
No one's going to compete with you if you're going to get it above your
No
head.
contested, and I'm jumping up for it. Just no.
As long as you go up and you come down with the ball, no one's going to
Yeah.
care. Yeah. But how have you found yourself into the high rocks? Is that just like 1 or 2 things, or is that actually something that you love doing?
I wouldn't say I love doing it, purely based off. No, I kind of took a little bit of a break from rugby earlier in the start of this year. From January leading towards the end of my university degree, was kind of in that position where it was like, I kind of need to focus and knuckle down a little bit here because I have spent 4 years studying, so I need to leave with something worth doing. But I was also very conscious of the fact that I wanted to stay fit, and sevens season was coming up for us. So kind of fell into that aspect of fitness, and when you've been a competitor competing and playing games, it's very hard to train and not have something to train towards. So having a high rocks just to be with a mate, go out there and just have a bit of a run around and ultimately be in good shape was kind of the reason why I got into it.
Good shape or high rocks influencer?
No, good shape.
You don't want to become a high rocks influencer?
I couldn't be doing that. That's too much hard work.
There's actually 2 ex-GB players that went into Gladiators, the TV show.
Yeah.
So Alex Gray and Jodie Onsley. So they've got incredible nicknames. Going back to the nickname side of things. So we've got Apollo, and we've got Fury, we've got Iconic, and then we're not doing rats.
No, we're not. I mean, I'm sure the boys would love it to be like Mouse or something, just to take the absolute.
I was told Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. Yeah, we'll go with Bigfoot. Take that.
What size shoe are you?
Not big. It's about 6.5, 7. Yeah, not big.
6.5.
6.
But we'll say 7 in trainers, just for a little bit more room.
I think I'll literally double that.
Yeah, probably.
12.
I think most of the boys are.
I think I'm too
But I
sized
always
to
say I
do
get to win because they're always cheaper, and all the boots that they've always wanted
do.
when they sell out, I can always get. So
You get the kid size on.
no, not quite kid size. We've just about got outside of that.
that. Oh,
Within camp then, everywhere that we go, there's always a different setup, but everybody tries to maintain camp life to be the same as possible so that you kind of have a bit of routine. The Aussie boys have kind of like a coffee club. Is there anything like that within the girls' side?
not really. We always do a team activity wherever, like just purely because we enjoy each other's company. Yesterday we got a private charter to Rottnest, so that was quite bougie, quite nice. Thanks to Western Australia Tourism, they hooked that up for us. So, but yeah, no, nothing really. I think the girls tried to sneak into the coffee club and got denied. They kind of left their coffee machine out. Some of the girls used it, and I think it was a big no-no. So, I'm not a coffee drinker myself, so I avoid that.
Yeah, I'm a bit more of a tea man as well, so
Yeah.
just let the lads do it. Are you guys into your coffee, or do you try and do anything else?
No, there are definitely some boys that are proper little
Snobs.
coffee snobs. Definitely like to say they're pretty talented at it. Do enjoy doing it themselves. Not on tour. We haven't got the luxury of flying a machine out, but they are known to enjoy it when we're back at home. Yeah.
Maybe we might have to set up like an Ashes of Coffee where we get the
That
GB
would be
boys versus the
a little
Aussie boys.
latte art
Yeah.
competition.
Have you seen any latte art from the boys? Is there anything?
From some of our boys, there are some good contenders. I know Matt Davidson's done a few boys back at home, coming back from injuries, Tom Emery and lads like that. I know they're pretty skilled at it.
It's always the injured boys because they've got to like
Got so much time.
Jay, but it's always, in a way, it keeps them involved, and they're like, anybody want to call me? Yeah, right, I'll put a swan on.
What do you want?
Yeah, well, like, it's a good way to keep everybody together, to do something. Obviously, within the South America teams, they all have like their mate culture. Have you ever had a chance to try any of that? No?
That's the like cut with the straw. Sorry.
It's with the straw, it's not milkshake. So, this section is called Life is Rarely a Straight Line, sponsored by HSBC, where we go through all of the tough times on and off the field with the players and how they got through them. So, Maddie, we'll start with you. Obviously, you've been playing sports your whole life, so there's been lots of ups and downs, but probably most recently in the summer in Paris, you didn't come away with a medal where you probably would have liked to, and we read your article before as well, where you talked about sort of the mental aspect of sport and how there's difficulties there, and you worked with the team alongside that. So what are some of the areas that you've kind of struggled with in terms of on and off the field?
Yeah, I think for me, growing up, obviously wasn't always linear, and as I touched on before, first drop from teams and having your sister that's succeeding and probably knocking you out of those teams most of the time, it's so hard to like not put yourself in her shadow, and so hard to not like try and get like too far ahead of yourself. But I think that also helped shape me to the person I am today. But yeah, having a sports psych, you kind of realise stuff that you've built in from those tough times and from building that resilience you kind of still use to this day. And I think the biggest thing I struggle with is pressure and just dealing with my nerves, and just there'll be times where I go in Cape Town into Tiga's room and bawl my eyes out the night before we play, and she even said to me, she was like, you just broke a record last week, what are you crying about? And it's like just more so the pressure for me to do well rather than the team to do well. And I kind of feel like there's a big weight on my shoulders to do well and try and help get the team to the victory. But yeah, no, just trying to break those habits and like building nerves and trying to use them, but kind of quieten them a little bit, because I struggle to eat game day morning, and that's just what they said is built up from when I used to not eat because I was nervous as a kid, and it's just kind of filtered through to now. Sometimes I won't even be nervous, just my body just reacts kind of like that. So just trying to deal with that and get better at controlling those.
And a lot of the time when working with a sports psychologist, I worked with one during my career, it's half the time it's you just need to speak to someone.
Yeah, literally. Last week I was like getting real built up and I was like in a real hole, and I called our sports psych, and the next day everyone's like, oh, you're buzzing. And I was like, yeah, I spoke to Lodi last night. Like, I just had to vent to him, and yeah, just getting it off your chest and just having someone listen to you, I think, is half the problem of it. So yeah.
And in terms of coming from Paris, obviously you wanted to win a medal, but then you have that down, but then you come into this season, you're absolutely flying, 170 tries, you know, you're every time you touch the ball, it seems like you're scoring. So was there any key elements outside of even sports, talking about the sports psych, or was that really what you worked on the whole time?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, obviously disappointing loss in Paris, and I think when you know you have the team to do it, and it's probably overall what kind of let us down, the way we played and how we kind of adapted to situations. And we know that in LA we'll probably have roughly the same team because we were quite young, and we can learn from that, we can adapt from that, but it is kind of a kick in the guts and you kind of had to feel it. So I think just all riding that wave, we went through all those lows, and I think it also made us eager to train again and to come back in and put our best foot forward in Dubai and showcase like kind of what we can do if we play well. And we're obviously still a young team and we're still adapting and just trying to gain that experience. But yeah, no, definitely excited.
A lot to build on, like who's young squad, a lot to learn. And it seems like Tegan is a bit of a cornerstone for you. Like if she isn't there, does that make a difference as well?
Yeah, kind of, not really. I feel like I'm pretty lucky in the sense that she's probably hasn't been there for one tournament, but I had her on the phone every 5 seconds. But I think we live together, we work together, we travel together, so you kind of just get into this cycle of having her there and relying on her. So for me, I am lucky to just have an outlet. She knows me, she knows when I'm in my head, she knows what I'm going through, and she knows what I've been through, and just to have, we say, travel with a piece of home, it's quite an advantage point for us. That's good.
Yeah, lovely. And Ryan, you are new to the series, as we talked about before, but has there been anything maybe trying to get into the team? You said that you had shoulder surgery before, but there's obviously been ups and downs as well in your career. And
Yeah.
some tough ones.
I mean, in all honesty, the last 4 or 5 months has been a complete whirlwind for me. I was coming to the end of my uni career, and it was at that turning point that I know a lot of people face, of whether they try and pursue sport or they accept they've gone as far as they can and they look to start making a career. And I wasn't really sure where rugby was sitting for me at that time. And I'd literally said to my parents, like, I've had a great time. Like, I've done as much as I could do. I don't think anything else going to come from this. Like, maybe it is time just to accept. Let's get a job and move on. And 2 days later, I got a phone call saying, we're interested in getting you out to Germany to do the European legs that GB are involved in over the summer, the 2 tournaments. And I was like, oh, where's this come from? And I was still kind of in the mindset of finishing on a high kind of thing, like not really knowing that it was going to lead to where I am today. But like we said, when that opportunity comes, you kind of take it. So yeah, those last 4 months, would I have said I'd be here in Perth playing rugby for Great Britain? No, not at all. But you kind of take every opportunity now, and just so grateful for it and so glad that I did stick in it.
Kind of similar to my side when you were talking about that, because I was in an academy, I left, and then I wasn't really enjoying my rugby at all, and I didn't really have a conversation to say that I wasn't going to play anymore, but I was kind of like, oh, if I get selected or not, I don't really care. If it's just for a local club team, and I was 22 at the time, and then left the academy. It would have been obviously the July, August time, and then March the following year, the Sevens program in Ireland was set up, and literally there was no team at all, and then that came around, and my mum signed me up.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think a lot of it for me is the people around me that almost had more faith in my ability than I did at a certain point in time. Definitely my parents, they were kind of always, no, you are kind of good enough, like you should just keep going. And even when yourself, like you do analyse yourself and think, oh, I can't do this, maybe I'm not good enough for this. And you've always got someone there that says, no, keep going. And I am grateful that I did, because, yeah.
Thank you for the insight into that. Now we're going to have a little bit of fun. We've got like a little bit of quickfire. We had the Sevens page posting about the little story about questions that came in. So we've got 5 questions here. This one will start off. Maddie, what is your 100-meter time?
Ooh.
I actually don't have one.
What's your GPS then? Highest GPS?
In Dubai, I clocked 9596, but I dove at the end, so they're trying to work out if it was from the chase down. I'm claiming it.
Take it.
Absolutely.
But if not, 94.
Okay, 9.4.
Yeah, meters per
Someone do the math for us, please. Thank you very much.
35.
And we'll go with you.
Dubai also, I think. Oh no, Cape Town. I think I got a 10.4. I think my best was a 10.6, but that was on 4G. So we might have to wait if we get any more down. Yeah, it does.
You did athletics, so do you know your 100-meter?
When I was 18, 19, I think it was a 10.7.
Not fast enough.
I think it might be slightly heavier now. So
Unreal. Life's Easy Peasy has asked for everybody, what has been your worst date experience?
Oh.
wow.
From left field.
I haven't been on many dates, to be honest. Sorry, life easy peasy.
The problem.
No, I've not been on many dates. I haven't had a horror show, to be honest.
Fine.
Same.
Which I'm quite like to keep it that way, to be honest.
There you go. Well done. From Danny, who is the hardest team to play against and why?
Ooh.
Ooh. 2 teams, probably for different reasons. The French, they're always a tough battle, such a physical team. And then New Zealand, they're probably the hardest. they're obviously winning gold medals at the Olympics for a reason. They're one of the best teams in the world, and I think similar playing style to us, but in saying that, they're probably my favourite team to verse, just because you're always getting better and you're always achieving more when you verse teams like that.
I was going to say Fiji for the men has probably got to be in the question, just the way they play the game, always have done. It's just very different to everyone else, just throwing it around. You don't know where things are coming from, the speed, the power of them, it's second to none.
I was in Fiji last week in the Coral Coast, and it's like chasing shadows all again, so good choice.
Doesn't change with the women either.
From Marcus Kershaw for Ryan.
Here we go, my roommate.
Thanks, Rumi.
Yeah.
What's it like having a 5.5 shoe size?
Yeah, good. He told me he sent this one in. You don't get stood on as often, and that's all I can say.
Fair enough.
You don't get bruises on your feet, which do hurt when some of the big lads out there stand on your feet.
I don't know what it's like, I've got it.
Clearly helps to run fast.
Exactly, there you go. Cover the ground.
And last question from the Sage Gardener. If you could change one law in either 7s or 15s, what would it be?
Right now for me, probably that 45-second rule.
I was literally about to say, controversially, I love how it's speeding up the game, but if you've made a line break and you are rather tired, it's but I mean it is a great thing for the game. We're just gonna have to get fitter, I guess.
Yeah. Well, someone that scores the try and then has to restart target next, I think there's probably other ways to speed up the game, but loving that we're trying to evolve the game.
Absolutely.
I think because of the 45-second rule, they should remove the rule that it has to be the same ball.
Yeah.
Because like you score and then you're like trying to throw it back. Yeah. Whereas if you're smart and you're the kicker, you could nearly be like looking for a ball boy on the side.
Good point.
Trying to get it.
So you know that's been scored and like
Still takes me 45 seconds to walk back to house.
You say
and it allows
take
a
every
celebration.
45 seconds.
Allows a celebration as well. You know, you can't celebrate. You can't like pump the ball or anything like that. You're like, oh, rolling it back, getting an earful.
Yeah.
Gotten so many earfuls. I don't score that much, but I've gotten about 3 earfuls a month. 3 earfuls.
I think I've only not given the ball back to Dolly once. It was at a crucial time, we won't talk about it. But I'm on a good record at the moment.
Well done. Okay, well, that wraps it up for the 3rd episode of HSBC Life on Tour here in Perth. Thank you so much to Maddie and Ryan for your time. Really appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.